to the SJBHS fraternity, the management, staff, parents, students, alumni, our esteemed guest for today, and for everyone who is watching this program. I deem it as honor and privilege to present today's event that commemorates National Sports Day. Despite the havoc unleashed by the pandemic, God's grace has been upon each one of us. For this grace and for being able to organize this event, let us begin with the prayer to the Almighty. I request Ms. Karen Felsinger to lead us in prayer.
Almighty and eternal God, we praise you and glorify your name. We thank you for keeping us safe in the night and giving us this new day. Direct our thoughts and actions and guide us in all that we do today. Bless our homes and our families and watch over them all. Bless our school and enable us to carry out your holy work diligently. We ask that you be with us as we guide our students whom you have placed in our care. Loving God, thank you for the opportunity we have in this nation to compete and use our talents in sports. We especially thank you for our sports persons who give us invaluable life skills, discipline, accountability, responsibility, teamwork. May we give our all, not just in practices and competitions, but in our daily life and in all our relationships. Almighty God, we ask that you listen to the cries of our brothers and sisters who are suffering from coronavirus. Place your healing hand over them. To all those who have lost their loved ones in this outbreak, we pray that their souls, through your mercy, may rest in eternal peace. May we comfort each other even as we keep apart. Grant us the courage and perseverance to be good friends and good neighbors. May your words be our prayer as we entrust ourselves to your infinite power and love. Amen.
Major Dhyan Chand, born on 29 August 1905, was an Indian field hockey player widely regarded as one of the greatest in the history of the sport. Dhyan Chand is to hockey what Bradman is to cricket, Muhammad Ali to boxing, and Pele to football. He was known for his extraordinary goal-scoring feats, in addition to earning 3 Olympic gold medals in 1928, 1932, and 1936, during an era where India dominated field hockey. Chand joined the Indian Army at the age of 16 in 1922. Subedar Major Tiwari noticed his dribbling skills. He became his mentor and laid the foundations of his game. Such was the passion to play hockey. He used to practice for long hours and most of the time till the moon was out. His friends started calling him Chand. Dhyan Chand scored over 400 goals in his career from 1926 to 1948. After 34 years of service, Chand retired from the Indian Army on 29 August 1956. The government of India honored him the same year by conferring him the Padma Bhushan. His birthday, 29 August, is celebrated as National Sports Day in India every year. India's highest sporting honor, Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award, is named after him. The President gives away sport-related awards such as the Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna, Arjun Award, and Dronachari Award on this day at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, India. The National Stadium, Delhi, was renamed Dhyan Chand National Stadium in his honor in 2002. Government of India has issued a commemorative postage stamp and a first day cover in honor of Dhyan Chand. He remains the only Indian hockey player to have a stamp in his honor. Major Dhyan Chand, known as the Wizard of Hockey. His magic continues.
Good day once again to one and all. I am Santosh Adam, Sports Secretary, St. Joseph's Boys High School. As we move forward with today's program, I now call upon Father Sunil Fernandez, Principal, St. Joseph's Boys High School, to make his welcome address.
My dear Josephites, our esteemed guests, and others present here today, St. Joseph's Boys High School, Bengaluru, is known as a school that places a lot of importance on sports and sportsmanship, on the field and off it. Today, as we celebrate National Sports Day to commemorate the birth anniversary of hockey wizard, Major Dhyan Chand, let us also celebrate our love for the game and endeavor to maintain high standards in the face of all odds. During these pandemic times, where being stationary is the norm, the importance of movement and sports cannot be emphasized enough. Competitive physical exercise not only motivates children and adults to get outside and keep fit, but it also imparts important values and builds character. On this special occasion, we have with us Mr. Ashok Kumar Dhyan Chand, the son of hockey legend Major Dhyan Chand. Our school hosts two important hockey tournaments every year, the Father Eric Vaz Memorial and the Centenary Hockey Event. So hockey is very much part of our identity and we take great pride in this game. We are delighted and privileged to have you with us, sir, and on behalf of the management and the staff, I extend a warm welcome. We also have with us old boy, Mr. Rahul Dravid. Little needs to be said about the honor and glory he has brought to the game, the country, and our school. It's a terrific feeling to have you with us, Rahul. I'm sure each one of us will learn something valuable today. Welcome back to school. Thank you to our guests, staff and students, parents and alumni, well-wishers and benefactors, and all gathered here today. I wish you and your family good health and physical fitness. Let the games begin.
Thank you, Father. Mr. Ashok Kumar and Mr. Rahul Dravid have found their own niche in their illustrious careers as sportsmen. We now invite you to a video presentation welcoming the stars. The management, staff, and students of St. Joseph's Boys High School express their gratitude and appreciation for sparing your precious time to be able to give us a sneak peek into your busy lives and sharing with our students the lofty ideals you uphold in your respective careers. Thank you for being with us today. We at SJBHS are privileged to have you in our midst. Thank you, sirs. Well, we come to the most awaited moment of the day, a rendezvous with Mr. Ashok Kumar and Mr. Rahul Dravid. As we commemorate National Sports Day, it is most fitting to have with us the two legends who have brought pride and glory to our country and who shine like beacons for the youth today. Let me begin with Mr. Ashok. Ashok, sir, National Sports Day, Major Dhyan Chand, the wizard of hockey, a magician. How did it all begin?
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I'm thankful to the management of St. Joseph Boy High School, all staff, teachers, principals, and it's my good luck, and I feel proud sitting along with Mr. Rahul Dravid sir, a great cricketer, earned all the name, fame, glory for the country, the wall of India. It's my privilege to be sitting along with. Thank you very much. I got the chance. And I appreciate Sushant for your all efforts to arrange this talk. And as you know, 29th of August, my father, the great hockey player, Major Dhyan Chand, he born on this day. The day was 29th of August 1905. And his family, my grandfather was in the army. So in a very early age, my father joined the army at the age of 16 after passing 10th class in Jhansi. That's my native place. I born in Meerut. My father was posted there in his last days when he got retirement. I born in Meerut 1950. I saw the atmosphere, the surrounding atmosphere all over was hockey. Whether outside the house, in the schools, and especially on the army grounds. As all we know, the children, all these upcoming generations, if they are having their surrounding atmosphere pleasant, educational, sports activities are going on, definitely they will indulge themselves into that. So like me, I joined hockey, but my father never taught me. He was a legend. He was master of hockey that time. So I used to watch it. Lots of people are coming. I was 5 years old that time, so in Meerut. So I was watching them. Lots of people coming, meeting. The world was very small. Not having many problems whatsoever we are watching today. They are sitting along with father. My father is narrating the stories of all the Olympics 1928, 32, 36. And of course, we should not forget that 40 and 44 Olympic could not take place because of the Second World War. So that atmospheric impression was a major cause of mine to take up hockey seriously. After passing my second class in Meerut, my father got transferred from Meerut to Jhansi. Not the transfer, but he retired from his army. That was 3rd Punjab Army Regiment. Same year he got the Padma Bhushan. So I feel the year 1956 when he received this award, was biggest civilian award. Lots of people came to meet him and congratulated him. Later on, we settled down in Jhansi. So I joined third standard in Jhansi. My school name was St. Mary's School. That was junior high school up to 8th class. And things were going on. But I was very much interested playing hockey at my home, at my Heroes ground, which has taken place. And this year is we are celebrating centenary year of Jhansi Heroes Club. That is 100 years we are completed. On which ground Dhyan Chand started playing. It was a rough ground, very rough ground. And barefooted, he used to play when I played like that also. So by playing on that uneven ground, Dhyan Chand got the confidence and technique to play on the rough ground. Later on, he joined army, as I told you. So what he used to do, in the evening time, all the Sipahis and all the army men, they were bound to play in the evening time any game, whatsoever it is. So hockey, football, volleyball, that is wrestling. So my father opted hockey. Since he had played the hockey in Heroes ground, so in that group, he started playing very well along with the army men. So his trainer, one of the trainers that time who used to look after all the players over there on the ground, army ground. So he saw Dhyan Chand is playing in such a way that no one extra on the other is playing. So he started taking interest in Dhyan Chand. So once he called Dhyan, come here. And he said, Dhyan, you play very well. Your dribbling is too good. But don't forget, hockey is a team game. You cannot win. If your all 10 supporters or teammates, if you don't play along with them, or they don't play along with you, your team cannot win. So this was the Guru mantra, I can say. He gave to the Dhyan Chand, and Dhyan Chand, till his death, he used to narrate this thing to everyone. And he started taking interest in hockey much more since his trainer tapped his back that you are a good player. So in the afternoon time in the army, they used to live in the tents, army tents. So in the afternoon, after the lunch, so all his, army men, they used to sleep 1 hour or 2 hours, but Dhyan Chand used to go along with hockey stick and ball alone, and he practiced somewhere in a lonely place. Nobody is watching him. That's how his mastery, his way of thinking, psychologically you can say, he used to, picturize all the movements whatsoever we are having in a hockey game with his imagination, and he used to practice. He never used to hit the ball into the goal. We have watched hockey, to score the goal or to pass the goal, you have to hit the ball. But he never hit the ball. He was having such a nice skill in to pass the ball with flick or with the push or reverse flick or scoop or overhead passes. So he practiced. He started becoming the best player in the army that time. So since this is a little story I'm just telling to the boy, that every game requires your efforts, not the efforts, along with your hard work and your efforts, what you want to become, your target, and above all, commitment, your own commitment. This is what I want to do in my life. So Dhyan Chand, I think Dhyan Chand, he never told this thing, but Dhyan Chand wanted to play like a star player that time. So he worked hard for that. Lonely he used to play. After evening roll call, he used to go to the ground. Whether it's moonlight or not, or in the darkness, he used to practice. Once I read in the books that great footballer Pele, for one angle hit, he used to kick the ball for 1,000 times. 1,000 times. That's how they became the legends. They became the master in their own game and their particular game. So Dhyan Chand selected for the army team, and once he said, I was sitting in the tent. So one orderly came and told that your commander is the one to talk to you. Dhyan, you come along with me. So Dhyan just changed his clothes and he went to the room, to the commander room. Commander, Dhyan, you started playing good hockey. That's what I heard. Your battalion is winning. Your army team is winning. So we are sending the army team to the New Zealand. So this is the first time that any team of this country, from this country, toured abroad. That was New Zealand. So he saluted his commander and he said, when I passed the gate, the door, I ran into my tent to say this thing to my teammates or to my friends that I got selected for this. So this is the starting point of Major Dhyan Chand. How later on, his very first tour in New Zealand, he scored 82 goals. Very first goal he scored, and in this tour he scored 82 goals. He came back. And little famous because there was any media or other sort of what we are having in present time. Only media print was available. News used to go to the America or to the England or the English reading countries. So little bit this sort of things explained in the papers. And I must say, because of 26th tour of India, that is army tour, there wasn't entry of the hockey team in the Olympics, which was going to happen in 1928. But after playing the New Zealand tour, IOC, he entered the team hockey game into the Olympics, and they invited India team. And very first team when they invited, we hadn't any money, we hadn't any government, we hadn't any sports ministry, we hadn't any things. And Olympic used to play as not the professional game, it was amateur game. So only 11 players went to the Holland by ship. We can imagine how the things were over there. No money, but they travel all the way to New Zealand, to Holland. Very first match they played, the first match when they played, my father wrote in his book, only 150 people were on the ground, roundabout. But when they finished and they played the final match, round about 25,000 spectators were there. So what was the difference between first match and the last match? When they played the first match, somehow the print media started writing about Indian team, the Indian players, and it's mentioned over there in the papers that the team from the India side have brought a very, very complete team. Whether it's technically, whether it's physically, stamina-wise. Physically, I can't compare Indian player to the Europeans or the Americans or the Africans. But physically and stamina-wise, and the coordination and combination between the teams, too good. It's worth to watch. So this thing, spread out outside the hockey field, hockey arena. People, they read next day in the papers, and it's written in the book. I read it on my own eyes. That writer writes in the paper that the spectators who are going to watch other sports, they turn their vehicle to the hockey field. It means people, spectators, they were so keen to watch an Indian side and Dhyan Chand. And first time Dhyan Singh, his name was Dhyan Singh. Dhyan Singh came into the picture, and people started saying him, no, something is wrong with something special in his hockey. Something special in his hockey because his dribbling, ball control, way of passing the ball and running with the ball so speedy and passing to the players. It used to be very, 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 different game hockey that time. So that was the final match we played in Holland. We beat Holland 3-0. India team came back to the country.
Rahul, sir, this question is to you. Yeah, you have played hockey in school as well. We all know that. But apart from that, what we wanted to know was, what does the word sport mean to you? We celebrate National Sports Day, and we give so much of importance to sports, especially in Joseph's as well. Apart from all those achievements that of yours, we can't keep a count of the achievements you have made. What is that that sports has taught you?
Yeah. Firstly, thanks, Santosh. And it's a real pleasure to be here. It's lovely to be back at an event at St. Joseph's Boys High School. I think, for me, it's been some of the best days of my life, and I have so many great memories associated with school, and a lot of what I am today is because of the time and the years that I spent at St. Joseph's Boys High School. Again, it's a great privilege and honor to be on stage with Mr. Ashok Kumar. I think a legendary hockey player, in his own right. I think a gold medalist and a winner of the World Cup in 1975 and scored the winning goal in 1975. So it's a great honor to be here, sir, and a pleasure to be a part of this program along with you, and to hear some fantastic stories about the legendary wizard Dhyan Chand. I also have a small connection with Jhansi. As a kid, I used to. My grandparents used to live in Gwalior, which was very close to Jhansi. So as kids, in those days there was no direct train to Gwalior. So from Bangalore, we would always take a train to Jhansi and get down in Jhansi and take a bus to Gwalior. So I've been to Jhansi many times, but I have never gone inside the city. I've always gone from the railway station to the bus station. I hope to come there someday. I like you said, Santosh. I love playing hockey in school. We played both hockey and cricket in school. I think in those days, one of the lovely things about being in school was being able to play the Father Eric Roy tournament and then the Centenary tournament, and then go on to the cricket. So we always played hockey in the first couple of months of school in June and July, and then played cricket in August and September. It was really good fun. Being part of the hockey team. I love playing hockey. I was fortunate enough that in the hockey team that I played in, a couple of the boys went on to play in the Olympics. Anil Alden and Sandeep Somesh. So we were a pretty strong hockey team in those days in the circuit in Bangalore. And maybe a lot of my hand-eye coordination, which I gained in cricket, I actually learned in hockey. Because if you think about it, you're actually stopping a similar size ball like a cricket ball, which is a hockey ball, is almost of the same size, in a much thinner stick, right? But the hockey stick is much thinner than a cricket bat. So being able to stop the hockey ball with a hockey stick probably helped my cricket as well. So for me, sports been a very, very integral part of my life, and I think a large part of that credit goes to school, because we were so much encouraged in those days. The principal in those days, Father Dennis Coelho, the late Father Dennis Coelho. He and there was Father Freddie Menezes, who was our sports secretary in those days. They loved sports so much, and they really encouraged a lot of us to be a part of sport and to be a part of the sporting teams and the sporting culture in the school. Whether it was playing hockey and football and cricket, and then you had sports games. It was so much a part of our school. So I think a lot of that, a lot of the values. Of course, you went to school and we had to study and you had to get good marks and you had to do it in class. But a lot of the lessons about life also on the sports field. I think that's something that has sort of really a large part of that has stayed with me. You learned how to play. Mr. Ashok Kumar, being part of a team and how important it was for Mr. Dhyan to be a part of a team and to ensure that his teammates did as well as he did. You learned a lot of those things in school. You learned how to be part of a team. You learned to win as a team. You sometimes lost matches as a team. You learn to accept a lot of the failure. You learn to sort of deal with success. You learn that the more you practice, the better you got. And I think a lot of those life lessons and a lot of that reflects in anything you do in life. And I was lucky to go on and play cricket and make sport a profession for me. But even if I hadn't done that, I think there were so many things that you learned on the sports field at school, which, could never really be replicated. A lot of those past, sort of lessons of just persevering, of being 1 goal down or 2 goals down in a hockey match and never giving up and still learning how to fight, of realizing that times you had to, you lost a game, but you had to shake the opponent's hand and, accept that they were better than you. And then you came back and you tried to do it next time, you tried to do it better the next time. So there's so many of these lessons that you learned on the sports field. So sports for me is meant, obviously for me, it's become a career and it became a life. But also it became, I think, in a lot of ways, sports gave me, it sort of, in a lot of ways, it taught me so much about life. It taught me so much about just living life, just through the sport that I played. The other thing that I think I gained a lot through sport was just confidence, the sheer confidence of just, trying to achieve something or trying to do something, trying to persevere and trying your best to do something. I think there's a lot of confidence to be gained in just the effort that you put in, not necessarily so much on the results, but just the effort and the perseverance that you put in, I think gives you a lot of confidence in just your own self, that you can persevere, that you can fight, that you can try your very best. And I think that's something that certainly helps you in whatever you may do in life. So yeah, for me, sport has been life, Santosh, and I think a lot of those lessons were learned in school, on the playgrounds in school, and they've never gone away from that. For me.
That's nice to hear. Rahul sir, with your permission, we would like to play a video about your cricketing journey.
Some English people prefer soccer to cricket, but cricket is the game for India. And all round St John's Wood, because a lot of them in the shops here, they're crazy about it. Wherever you go, they talk about it, and a lot of them unfortunately couldn't get to the ground.
I grew up to the strains of radio commentary coming from the transistor in my father's study. I hero worshipped my father, and I grew curious about this game that he loved so much. His idea of a day well spent was going to watch the cricket, and my brother Vijay and I were encouraged to tag along. As our evening cricket matches in the neighborhood became a daily affair, my curiosity gave way to interest, and this interest soon gave way to love. As a young boy, I loved playing school sport, first at St. Anthony's and then at St. Joseph's Boys High School. I took part in high jump and distance running and represented the school at hockey and football. But my first love, cricket, seemed to endure. My mother made delicious chutney sandwiches which she brought for the whole team. I think my teammates were happy to have me in the team just for those sandwiches. Winning the Cottonian Shield as captain was the biggest moment of my school life. When my batting average started exceeding my school grades, I guess the writing was on the wall. My coach, Mr. Keki Tarapo, was a mentor in the truest sense, much before the concept of mentorship was popular. He was an extremely caring person and more like a second father to me. I remember when I went on my first trip to England, he'd write me letters of encouragement. He never really stressed on the technical aspects of my game, but was always there to help me out. His focus was on discipline, punctuality, polished shoes, and a perfect uniform. Keki sir, along with my school principal, Father Koilo, Mr. Hanuman Singh, and Mr. P.S. Vishwanath, made timely interventions in my cricket career, and a lot of credit must go to them.
finishing school was a graduation in more ways than one. I moved on to St. Joseph's College of Commerce, where I had to suddenly play bowlers 5 years senior to me. This was massive for my game. I got my own scooter. It made commuting from one ground to the other for practice, yoga, gym so much easier. I would just hop on and ride away. Exciting times lay ahead.
Yeah, that must have brought a lot of good memories, and so nice to see your memories, Rahul sir. So we'll move on to the next question to you. What is success according to you? And when we see your success, it's like a mountain, but I'm sure that there's something that you must have done to achieve that success. And what was the role of failure in your success?
Yeah, so I think for me, success is not really being measured by the number of runs or the centuries that I've scored. I think that's just one way of sort of measuring it and saying that's a statistical way for me for measuring it. I think for me, really, my whole cricketing career really has been a journey of, if in some ways I can call it, trying to be the best person that I can be, or just a process of obviously trying to become a really good cricketer and constantly improving and constantly trying to get better. And also just the experiences that I've had, because of cricket on me as a person and how that's changed me as a person. I think that's for me, really success hasn't been about the runs and the wickets, but it's been that striving. It's that journey. It's the process. Are you? It's for me that's been probably the more important thing. I think if I look back on my career, a lot of people talk about the runs I've scored or the centuries that I've hit, but I always sort of turn back and say that look, I left the game without any regrets. I left the game knowing that I had given my very best to try and become the best cricketer or the best person I could become. And I think that for me is really in some ways, how for me was a success, just trying to be the best I could be. It was not comparing myself statistically with somebody else or judging myself on somebody else's standards. It was just judging myself on my own standards. And it didn't matter if I scored, 20 centuries less or 5,000 runs less. I don't think that would have, for me been, that I would have sort of thought of that as being a less success if I had given it everything I had. I think when you're young, you tend to compare yourself with a lot of other people and judge yourself based on other people's marks or other people's success. But I think for me, really, I quickly realized it was more important to not compare myself to other people, but try and become the best I could be. I think that was much more probably way of going about things. And certainly that something meant that I set quite high standards for myself, and I was pretty hard on myself at times. But at least they were my own standards, and I was always trying to get better or improve on my standards. So for me, that really was what success was about. And honestly, I think I haven't actually gone out trying to be a role model or trying to set an example to other people as a conscious effort. For me, it's just trying to be the best I could be, or trying to just go about doing things in the way that I had been taught by my parents or how I've been taught in school, and just living the school's motto, which is faith and toil, and just living the motto and just doing that, and I'm just hoping that then along the way you can maybe influence a lot of other people, but not consciously trying to think about, making an effort to influence other people. Failure played a big role in my life as well. I think if you play cricket, it's a game of failure. You fail more than you succeed, and that's just the nature of the game. Even the greatest players in the world actually fail statistically more than they succeed. So I've actually failed more than I have succeeded. So for me, learning how to deal with failure and not seeing it really as failure, but seeing it as learning, as an opportunity to grow, was very important. So we have this saying where you say you're either winning or you're learning. You're not really failing. So even when you do badly, are you learning from those experiences? What are you actually failing well? When we mean by what I mean to say is, when you fail well is do you actually take lessons from those failures? Do you actually do something? Do you reflect on them? Do you reflect on your performances, whether it's good and bad? Do you learn from those experiences? And I think if you learn from those experiences, then it really, I think failure doesn't really matter that much, because you're only improving and you're constantly getting better. So in fact, you're actually better off putting yourself in difficult situations where you fail a lot, so that you can learn from those experiences. If you only do things that are easy for yourself, then you might succeed or you might do well, but you're not going to learn. It's like, obviously, it's like doing a maths exam, for example, in 10th standard. Not saying that I was very good at maths. I wasn't very good at maths, but I'm saying if you do the sums that you only know, or if you do the chapters that you only know and you get 100% in them, I think you're not learning anything. But if you try something that is probably very hard and you don't know it that well, even if you get 70%, at least you know what 30% you got wrong, and you can work on that. So I think for me, it's really been important to keep pushing myself to the point where you actually fail a lot, so that you can learn from those experiences and keep getting better. So yeah, it's played a big role in my life.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Mr. Ashok. Ashok, sir. We hear of this incident wherein when during the matches in Netherlands, officials had to break the stick of Dhyan Chand, to check if there's a magnet inside or something like that. Would you like to share something on that? It means he was so good in his stick work, maybe something like that.
Yeah, that was true, in fact, because he used to move his hockey stick so fast, and along with the ball, that the spectator used to think something different. They started saying he's having some magnet, some magic, and once they broke that hockey stick to see what is into it. But of course, it wasn't nothing, simply a hockey stick, a stick. So they changed his stick to another stick. It is just because of the practice. We all know, all sports persons, we know. It depends in what way your mind gives the message to your body, your nervous system, your action starting. We were watching Rahul, sir. Then the ball comes and in the fraction of a second, everything happens. His body moves down, ball goes away. So same thing happened in hockey. In all the sports, our bodies started taking all sort of preservations, all the measurements, your assessment, your purvanman, we call it now. Yeah, what's going to be happen. And of course, when someone is going to ball, this anticipation is a very, very essential, very important word. We have to act along with.
Before I continue, I wanted to show a small video, a small footage of one of the interviews with Major Dhyan Chand. With your permission, sir, can I play that video?
Please, go ahead.
Yes.
हमारे देश ने कुछ ऐसे खिलाड़ी भी शामिल किए हैं जिनके नाम से वो खेल आज जाना जाता है, और हमारे लखनऊ दूरदर्शन केंद्र के इस कार्यक्रम के लिए आज सौभाग्य की बात है कि हमारे स्टूडियो में मौजूद हैं मेजर ध्यानचंद, जिनका खेल जगत में दद्दा के नाम से ही जाना जाता है। आज ये अपने कीमती संस्मरणों से हमें हॉकी के बारे में कुछ बताएंगे, और उसके साथ ही आपको जानकर ये भी खुशी होगी कि आज के वर्तमान स्तर में जो हमारी राष्ट्रीय प्रतियोगिताओं के माध्यम से अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर अपने देश का नाम कमा रहे हैं, खिलाड़ी वो भी हमारे स्टूडियो में मौजूद हैं। वे हैं अशोक कुमार, महबूब खान और असलम शेर खान। और इन सब के साथ बैठे हैं मेजर ध्यानचंद जी, दद्दा साहब। दादा कुछ बताइए आप। अब ये लोग तो अपनी बात बता रहे हैं कि क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स रही, क्या है, और आप लोगों को तो कभी प्रॉब्लम आई ही नहीं। आप तो बिल्कुल हम उस पर थे ही, उस हॉकी का जहाँ तक सवाल है।
इन लोगों को काफी प्रॉब्लम,
अब वो मतलब उस तरह की नहीं आई कि अब एक अभाव सा नहीं लगा कि क्या किया जाए जो हम कुछ कर बैठे हैं, वो वाली बात
जी हाँ खैर, ये आप
इस तरह की
इसका मतलब ये है, यानी जो फॉरेन कंट्री जो हॉकी सीखी है, इसमें शक नहीं है कि हिंदुस्तान के जरिए सीखी है। मैंने देखा है वहाँ कि हॉलैंड के अंदर और जर्मन के अंदर जिस वक्त हम लोग प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए जाते थे ग्राउंडों पर, तो उनके टेलीविज़न वगैरह, फोटोग्राफ्स वगैरह, ये स्लो मोशन और फास्ट मोशन लेने के लिए हमारे पीछे पीछे लग जाते थे। लेकिन हम लोग खिलाड़ी थे, हमको इन बातों का भी ज़रा सा भी ख्याल नहीं होता था कि क्या है। एक फ़ोटो मांग लेते थे, बाकी वो अपना सीक्रेट हर एक चीज़ लड़कों की सिलाने के लिए खींच लेते थे। और वो फोटोज़ स्क्रीन के ऊपर अपने बच्चों को, ये मैंने 63 में देखा, जब मैं 63 में बर्लिन में गया, फिर ये देखा स्क्रीन के अंदर बच्चों को वो टेलीफोन स्क्रीन के ऊपर उसको उनको शो करते थे, और उनको उसी वक्त साथ में बोलते भी जाते थे कि देखो ये हाथ इधर रखना है, ये पैर इधर है, और ये सिर इधर है, बाल को जब ड्रिबल करना है तो उसका हेड किधर होना है, फलान। ऐसा करने के बाद उन लोगों ने इतनी ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस कर ली कि हम अब हिंदुस्तान का मुकाबला करने लगे। मैंने देखा है रिसेंटली यूरोप कंट्री के खेलों को कि वो हमारे मुकाबले में थोड़ा थोड़ा ड्रिबलिंग करने लगे हैं, बजाय हिट मारने के अब ड्रिबलिंग भी शुरू कर दिया हम लोग।
जी हाँ, काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट्स हैं उनके। और ऑस्ट्रेलिया टीम तो
इसमें शक नहीं है कि सीखा हम लोगों से है, और इसमें हमारे लोगों की, हमारे हिंदुस्तान की अभी तक वो कंट्री तारीफ करती है कि हाँ, हिंदुस्तान जो खेलती है हॉकी, वो हिंदुस्तान के सिवा और कोई नहीं खेल सकता।
So it was a joy to watch that video, that interview. It was a sort of a dream come true for me to see Dhyan Chand, like alive. Thank you for that memories. So now we hear that people used to take pictures and then worked on their skills. How much do you think it impacted the game, the European countries, the people whom Dhyan Chand played with? What was the impact of these sort of things that they used to do, when Dhyan Chand was playing?
As we all know that hockey normally played on the ground, but European countries, they used to take pictures, movies that time, like my father telling to you. It's my own eyes in 73 after losing in the final Amsterdam 73, when great Govinda missed the penalty stroke in sudden death. Late Sujit Singh scored 2 goals, they equalized it, then went into sudden death time, and Govinda missed the penalty stroke in sudden death. We had a tour to Argentina. That time Argentina wasn't anywhere in the hockey arena. So we went there, and we saw the television first time over there, that camera. So they are after us. They started taking movies and all the footsteps and stick work. So we thought that they're taking it. We hadn't. India was not able to purchase or able to get the video camera that time. It was costing about 30,000 or 40,000 of rupees. So, as my father told you, it happened along with me in 73 that they took all the slow motion pictures of hockey, of all the players. They were after me, of course, because I was the forward who used to dribble and move fast along with the teammates. And Ajit Pal, centre-half, the great centre-half, our captain used to be. Great Dr. MP Ganesh, he was a star at the time. So that's how they built up the team. That's how they built up the team, sitting in the rooms, and analyzing all the actions on the papers, explaining to the boys. Whereas we never used to believe on paper works. India, we should have. It was the missing of Indian side that time. We never joined any class. No lecture. All the training used to happen on the ground. Go and play, go and play, go and play. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is. This is the weakness of our management at the time. They then took it serious. Later on, they changed the ground. On surface, India and Pakistan, all the Asian countries were the best. I tell you, we were the best. But they changed the ground. And to play on the ground, it requires a lot of money. In 72, we had only one ground in India, only one ground. So how can you imagine that by having one ground, the thousands of players at that time, they are able to play and practice on the turf.
Ashok sir, may I interrupt? Sir, what I wanted to know exactly here was, now when the people came and took the pictures of Dhyan Chand, that's what the interview we heard, that they were taking pictures and demonstrating, showing it to their children and players how to hold the grip of the stick, the head position. I mean, what was did it bring changes in the European style of playing hockey? Watching Dhyan Chand's techniques and his footwork or his head positioning, did it bring any changes in the game, in the way the European teams played?
The originality of the game, they changed it, Europeans, by changing the ground. By changing the ground. India couldn't buy the ground, couldn't install the grounds in India in sufficient way. Our numbers of players started getting minus. Whereas they started having the ground in their countries. Holland was at that time having 250 grounds. Now they are having more than 1,000 grounds in the schools. In which school we are having the AstroTurf ground? Tell me. Which school? You won't find. So when in India, any school not having the ground, how we expect that this game will improve and we're going with...
Sir, I want to interrupt there. St. Joseph's we have made an attempt to have a turf of our own to encourage the game. We always had a pride in taking up hockey in the school. Yeah, we are proud to say. Yes, I feel
along with best space.
We would want you to come once to our school and see the sort of facilities we provide to our students.
I met all the players over that time, maybe in
Yes,
between 70 to 80s. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure. I'm sure now. I think there are schools who are coming up, and making sure that yes, they are giving opportunities for children. Bring in some turfs. Yes, sir.
Is it a sufficient number of the? Now we started thinking about something.
Yes.
It would have happened in 98 when they changed the ground in 76. That was the point. That was the time, and we started losing the game. And by losing one game, you are 4 years back, because you have to play after 4 years the Olympics and any whether it's Asiad or Asia Cup or World Cup. So it takes 4 years to compete. That was the time we started losing the matches, the interest among the sports fraternity and the politicians and the sponsorship. They changed their views about from the hockey side.
I think, but now things have changed, no, sir. I think now the present condition and how the Indian team is performing and how it's performing in Olympics, I think there's the big improvement. That's a good sign for us and for our students who are taking up hockey.
In present hockey, you can't pick out the best player in one team. Very difficult. Now we are. How is assessing a best player? Who is scoring the goal and who is stopping the goal? Just two people. One who is scoring the maximum goals, and one who is scoring, stopping, not to allowing the goal into the goal post. Otherwise, it's an average game. Average game we are playing. But on that ground, easily you could have pointed out that this is the best player, who is passing, who is movement, who is who is running along with the ball, who's passing. So this is what present hockey.
So, sir, sorry to interrupt you there again. I think when I am a sports secretary and I've seen our own coaches, training in the school, and we always emphasize on what you said in the beginning, that hockey is a team game. Though a boy who scores the goal will be noticed, we always emphasize on the fact that it's a team game, and it's only when somebody passes to you, you're able to score it. So the person who plays over it could be the midfield. We say the defender is equally important because he has to save a goal. Midfield is equally important because unless he passes, the forward cannot take it up and score a goal. So we have always emphasized on that, and that is how we have been moving forward, sir, as far as hockey is concerned.
I appreciate. Yeah. I know about the school. I know about all the stalwarts, the great Rahul Dravid and Sandeep Sumesh and Anil Andrew.
Yeah, Dr. Westpace. We have Dr. Westpace, an Olympian in his own. Yeah, he's also our old boy.
Legacy and
yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Very few schools. Very few schools you will find.
Yes, sir. Rahul, sir. So before I ask you the question, I want to play a couple of videos, and then I will ask my question.
I love that. But I'll tell you what, he's done a very good job of getting out of line on that one. It is 37 for 1. I missed him easy. Missed him by a foot and a half, that. Look at it, watch. Missed him by a long way.
When I was seeing the video, I was wondering how do you manage even to, miss that ball. So your defense and your defense was the best in business, and you faced bouncers. We just showed an example and how you faced the bouncers without fear. And how important is defense and facing bouncers in life, especially these times, being low, and especially during these pandemic times, physically, mentally, emotionally, and not able to focus or concentrate academically. How do students deal with such situations? How could parents be of help to them in such situations?
Dr. Santosh, is very kind of you to say that I played them without fear, but that's not the truth. The cricket ball is pretty hard. Cricket ball is pretty hard, and I think if you're fearless, you're foolish, because we all at some stage. I think courage is not about not having fear; it's about actually doing what you need to do in spite of fear. So, to be very honest with you, if I said that every time I played, I wasn't scared or worried about getting hit with the cricket ball, that's not true. I was many times worried about getting hit with a cricket ball, but you stick it out there, right? I think you have a job to do, and that's what you need. That bit of courage, you need that determination, that desire, that hunger to fight, to keep going there, even though it's not comfortable and it's not easy, and even though deep down, you are worried about it, but you still have to go out there and get the job done. So I think I think for me, a lot of these situations where we're not about having that absence of fear, but still having the courage to fight through them, and I think it's sort of reflective of the time that we live in now. I think all of us are anxious, all of us are worried. All of us have had huge challenges over the last year and a half, especially your students, especially the young boys and girls, who study at school. It's been a very confusing time for everyone, and I think it's natural to feel a bit confused. It's natural to feel a bit anxious about what is happening, because these are things that probably we had never dreamt of or we had never expected. But I think what is important is what is our attitude to those situations. Either we get down and depressed on these situations, or we see them as opportunities to learn and grow, or we see them as opportunities to do things differently, or we see them as opportunities to develop other skills. The resilience and the ability to be creative. I mean, just look at things like even the way that the classes are being taught in school today, the way kids are learning. It's very different to how they used to, and probably very different to what they would like. But if you flip that around, you think that we've all had to be very creative. I mean, just look at the show that we are in today. We're able to converse. Probably 3 years ago, we would never have thought of doing something like this online. We would have always gone in a function and we would have had an event and we would have done it. We would have done it in school. But today we're able to reach a lot more people because we're being creative. There's been access to new technology. So in every difficulty, in every tough situation, there's always an opportunity. So I think it's just your attitude and how you view these things. So like you showed that ball, it's not that I wasn't scared or I wasn't worried, but it's just that how do you approach that, and what do you see that situation as? Do you see that as something that brings you down, or do you see that as a challenge or an opportunity to do something differently? And I think that's been, I think, a big lesson for me, or a big learning for me over the last couple of years, even in the job that we're doing now, or the job that I do at the NCA and with Indian cricket. I think it's been a tough time for everyone, and it's important to acknowledge that. I think it's important to acknowledge the difficulty that so many people have been going through over the last couple of years. But I think it's also important to recognize that some of these things are beyond our control. And the only thing we can control is our attitude towards these situations. Can we still find a way to, learn really well? Can we still find a way to get knowledge? Can we still find a way to find creative ways to ensure that, I know there's no school cricket, there's no chance to play on the playgrounds, there's no chance to, sort of play inter-school matches. But can we still find a way to play sports? Can we still find a way to get up and run? Can we still find a way to stay physically active? And I think that's really important. What is our attitude to the situation we find ourselves in? Because there's a lot of what's happening to us today we can't control, but there's certainly some things that, which we are in control of, that we certainly can do and not get depressed and not get down on ourselves.
Ashok sir, we want to play one more video before I ask you the next question, with your permission.
The final of the Olympic hockey. The wonderful Indian team in the white shorts, who so far have scored 30 goals to 0 in the tournament, are playing Germany. India score. India score again. Germany score. The final result was India 8, Germany 1.
That was a wonderful match, sir. We couldn't watch the full match, but the highlights itself shows how good the match was. So this is a 1936 Olympic final, India versus Germany, and there was an offer to Major Dhyan Chand from Hitler. Seems very interesting. So could you share something on that incident, sir?
First, I would like to tell to the boys why Indian team went down after 76. If you have noticed in this 36 German-Berlin match, all the players are holding the hockey stick top handle. And today's hockey has gone mid-handle. So this is the biggest, this is the change you can imagine what happened with hockey. Not sufficient ground, nothing else. And magic of my father, of course, it was magic of his brain, his imaginations, his practice, his attitude, his discipline. Of course, it is very much required with all the games. But since an army man, he was an army man. He took it very serious. He was a pure, disciplined person at home and outside the home. This is what he taught. If you have to play with discipline, self-discipline, on the ground discipline, off the ground discipline. That's why he became such a legend. Still, people, they remember him as a great hockey player.
That incident with Hitler?
Yeah. When India scored the 5th goal, in half-time interval, India was able to score only 1 goal because the ground was wet. Prior to the match, there was heavy rain on that day in Germany. So they have to postpone the match on 14th August to 15th August. Earlier, the match was supposed to venue on 14th August, but it changed the venue. They changed the venue, and the match being played in 15th of August. 15th August, very, very pious days in our life. We all know that. We got the dependent on that day. So, when India scored the 5th goal, Hitler was watching the match. He was sure that German team will beat India. Since prior to the tournament, India played one very practice match against German team. This is what the turning point. This was the turning point in India. They, first time in the history of hockey, from Germany, they sent one SOS to the British government that we want to invite one more. We require another player from India who's living in Lahore. Lahore was with us. Pakistan was that partition wasn't there, had taken place. So he came all the way by aeroplane for the fair. The government of India at that time, they spent 36,000 on Colonel A.I.S. Dara. When he reached in semi-final, India played along with Colonel Dara. He scored 2 goals, and in the final he scored 1 goal. But after scoring 5th goal, when India scored 5th goal, my father says that Hitler left the ground with pin drop silence. Pin drop silence. We couldn't hear the voice, any German voice was raising in the stadium. They were so, they were not hoping.
They were shocked. Maybe they were shocked to see the score line.
And after the match, what happened? India won by 8-1. Great victory. So far is a record. So everyone was enjoying, but my father, he wasn't present there among the players. Where he was sitting near to the flags, where all the flags used to normally hosted. And he was crying. So their teammates, they asked, why Dhyan Chand, you are crying? Why you are crying? We won by 8-1. We beaten in German side and defeated them by... No, we defeated them definitely. But I'm crying because my Indian flag is not there. We have to play under the Union Jack. So it was their feeling by an Indian. That feeling. We want to bring it to the heart of India, India's generation. Do it for the India. Play for India. Bring the laurels and medals for the India.
Team India won the gold medal at the Berlin Olympics, but notably, 38 goals were scored by the Indians, and only one goal was scored against them, that too in the final against Germany. India faced Nazi Germany in the final of the games, where they defeated the Germans by 8-1 and secured the gold medal. The match was played on 15 August 1936, a date that would become significant later in India's history. The wizard of hockey, Major Dhyan Chand, had scored 6 goals out of the 8 for India. Adolf Hitler was in attendance at the finals, and he was utterly impressed by Dhyan Chand's display of play. So much so that he offered Dhyan Chand to play for Germany. Major Dhyan Chand politely refused the offer with a smile.
Rahul sir, so this is something I think which every student is experiencing. And I meant to say Josephites and students all over India who have lost these 2 precious years in their school lives. Especially 9, 10, and 11 and 12. Because I get to hear from these boys about how bad they feel about that they missed out these 2 years of their school. What message do you have for them, sir?
I think it's firstly, like I said, it's important to acknowledge that it's been very difficult years. I mean, the 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th are probably some of the best years you have in college. A lot of my friends today, I mean, some of my best friends and people I know so well are still the boys who I grew up with, and boys who I spent my 9th and 10th with, and 11th and 12th with. So even I passed out of school now, 34 years ago, 33 years ago, 32 probably, 32, 33 years ago when I passed out of school. But still some of my friends are people I grew up, who I studied with in 9th and 10th. So, those are the kind of bonds that you build and friendships that you build that last you a lifetime. And it's probably been unfortunate for some of the kids that, they haven't had the chance to experience all of those things. But I think you've got to find, like I said, you've got to find creative ways to do that. I mean, today kids are a lot smarter, they're a lot sharper. There are so many other ways to stay in touch, to build memories, to build relationships. And I think children, boys and girls, have to find a way to do that in these difficult times. Hopefully it will pass, and hopefully we should get back to normal, very, very quickly. But it's been a difficult time for a lot of the 9th and 10th boys, and maybe some of the experiences that they haven't got, they can't control that. I think what they can control, like I said earlier, is probably their attitude to the situation, and say that, how can we still stay in touch with our friends? How can we still maintain those relationships, maintain those friendships, in spite of not having been able to go to school, in spite of not being part of a cricket team and not having those experiences? What can we do differently? How can we stay in touch? How can we still connect with our friends? And I think that is really going to be very, very important, for a lot of these young boys and girls, as to how they build those connections and how they build those relationships. And it's not been easy, and I honestly don't have an easy answer to it. It's very easy to say, it's not, we have not experienced it ourselves. We have not gone through those same experiences. So it's very hard to tell a lot of these young boys and girls what exactly they should do, because we don't have the benefit of that experience. We have benefit of other experiences, but what some of them have experienced in these last 2 years, none of us have had that opportunity to experience. So, firstly, credit to them and hats off to the young boys and girls for in spite of these difficult times, the way they've been studying, the way they've been responding to, the challenges that have been faced by them. But like I said, I think the important thing is in times like this is to have the right attitude, is to understand that in every situation there is an opportunity to learn and grow. And how you take that opportunity to learn and grow is really up to you.
Sir, I just want you to go back a little bit during your study days, because I feel it may help our students. How did you manage? Because there are many students who don't want to take up a sport because, or they feel, or the parents feel that sports eat away the time. They have to invest a lot of time into practice sessions, and thereby they may lose their focus on academics and they may not so do well. So how did you manage to balance sports and academics. What would you tell students or parents as far as taking up a sport is concerned?
Well, I would certainly encourage everyone to play sport. I think on National Sports Day, which is a phenomenal recognition of one of our greatest athletes, Major Dhyan Chand. It's a day where we should all recognize the value and importance of sport. Yes, not everyone will go on to become a professional sports player. That should never be the goal or the ambition when you're playing sport in school. It should be to play sport for many reasons. I think playing sport is firstly something, it's just beneficial for your health, just for your overall health, just from a physical fitness point of view, just from your health point of view. And I think in times like this, we understand the importance of immunity. We understand the importance of just having, good defense mechanisms against various diseases and illnesses. And that's something that provides you, going outside and playing sport and running with your friends, certainly helps you build immunity. It helps you become a healthier human being. So I think it starts from there. And then there are a lot of other things that you gain through sports, like we've discussed before. There's so many life lessons that you learn on a sports field. So you don't have to start out thinking of wanting to be a professional sportsman when you play sport. I think just playing sport for the joy of playing sport, I think is really important. Of course, then if you're good and then if you can pursue that, then you certainly should consider about taking it seriously. And then the challenge comes of balancing out your sport and studies. I think it's very, very important to be able to try and balance that out. I think it can be done. Of course, it requires you to have a lot of support and encouragement that I was lucky to have, from the principal at school in those days, from my teachers. Some of those teachers are still in school today or are still involved in the school today. And I received a lot of support from them. I was very lucky that I was in a school like St. Joseph's Boys High School, which, supported sport and allowed me to also, and understood the value of education. So, it was not like the principal just said that, you go and play sport and don't worry about studies. He also asked my marks and he also ensured that I was, getting good marks, and he didn't allow me to, or the teachers ensured that, they gave me a bit of extra time or attention or allowed me to do my homework a few days later. And I think these are the small kinds of encouragements that you need. And I think the boys at St. Joseph's are lucky that they have that kind of culture and that support in the school that allows them to do that. So if you have that support and you have that kind of culture in your school, then you should be able to try and balance out both sports and studies. I'm sure it does mean that you have to make a few sacrifices. It means spending less time in front of the computer, or spending less time playing video games, or maybe not being able to take that family holiday that you thought you might be able to take because you missed so many periods, or you missed so many classes or exams because of your sport that you're playing, that, the holiday that you were taking or the weekend that you thought I'll go somewhere with my family and friends, you have to stay back and catch up on the school work that you missed the whole week, So I think some sacrifices have to be made, but it certainly can be done, I think it can be done. And I think that obviously there are times when you need to focus and devote yourself to studies, when you get closer to your exams and leading into your exams, you can certainly take a break from sport, which is also a good thing. I think there's times that you can't keep playing 365 days of the year. There are times, even when we play sport, that we sort of suggest to children that they should take breaks, that they should, I think even for their sport, it's healthy for them to be able to take time off and to be able to study, because when you're studying for a subject, that also requires concentration, that also requires planning, that also requires discipline, that also requires a certain amount of perseverance. It means getting up in the morning and studying, or staying late and studying. And I think that can help you even in your sport. A lot of the things that you learn while studying, you can actually carry them into your sport and vice versa. So, for me, I was lucky. Like I said, to answer your question, I was very lucky that I was in a school that allowed me to, that gave me the encouragement and supported me to do that. And then my parents who, pushed me and ensured that I tried not to let my marks suffer in school. So, you have to make a few sacrifices if you want to be a sportsman and a good student. And you should be, willing to make those sacrifices.
I think we have to put a full stop. We have to end, because we can still go on and on, but it's time. So we come to the end of this tete-a-tete with our celebrities, Mr. Ashok Kumar and Mr. Rahul Dravid. On behalf of the entire Joseph's fraternity, I take this moment to thank you very much for sparing your precious time with us, gracing this event with your presence. This moment will go down the annals of our history. Our students and all viewing this program have definitely enjoyed listening to you today. I now invite Ms. Namita Joseph to propose the vote of thanks.
God has two dwellings, one in heaven and the other in a thankful heart. On the occasion of the National Sports Day program at St. Joseph's Boys High School, it gives me immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks today. On behalf of our principal and the management of St. Joseph's Boys High School, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our eminent dignitaries, Mr. Ashok Kumar and Mr. Rahul Dravid, for giving us their precious time and having shared their valuable experiences and insights, which have touched a chord in each one of us, leaving us in awe of the legendary people they are and all the sports persons who toil day in and day out. Thank you, Mr. Ashok Kumar and Mr. Rahul Dravid. I would also like to thank our principal, Reverend Father Sunil Fernandez, whose leadership and motivation are life lessons for all of us. He has forever been a powerhouse of energy, ever willing to take the plunge, and has always reinforced the school motto of faith and toil in every endeavor. Thank you, dear Father, for your constant encouragement and support. A special word of gratitude to our primary administrator, Father Vishal D'Souza, and our Vice Principal, Mr. Uday Kumar, who have always supported us in every venture. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Santosh Adam, the Sports Secretary at SJBHS, and all the faculty in the Sports Department for planning and organizing this event on account of the National Sports Day at our school. Grateful thanks to all the teachers and the IT staff, along with Mr. Anil and his team from AR Pictures, who have relentlessly worked to ensure the success of this program. Thank you everyone for your willingness to support and your eye for detail. I would like to express my gratitude and appreciation to all the parents, students, well-wishers and participants for having joined us today through this online platform. We thank you for your unfailing support and hope that you have stood to gain from the program and are swayed by the contribution made by these legendary sports persons. In the words of Michael Jordan, some people want it to happen, some wish it to happen, others make it happen. Thank you and have a wonderful day.